Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. First question. Coach, once someone hit the 2, 3, 4 plates for the big 3 and he's no longer a novice, can he jump to programs like the Renaissance, periodization, hypertrophy, template, and still maintain the strength base? For someone looking to be as strong and as big as possible, thanks. Yeah. You can't separate size and strength. So let's say that you have peaked your strength, right? You've peaked your strength and you reach 2, 3, 4 plate per size squat, bench, deadlift on a single. And then you go to a higher volume training and you gain muscle. Your quads, your glutes, your pecs, your lats, your triceps all get bigger. Your strength is going to go up. Now, does that mean if you've been doing a bunch of 5 to 8 rep sets and you haven't done any singles, no heavy work? Because 5 to 8 is not heavy. For anyone who thinks that's heavy, I don't know what world you guys live in. That is light ass, high rep stuff to a strength athlete. So, you've quit doing singles. What do you think is going to happen to your strength? Okay, your peak strength might seem to go down slightly. It may or may not. But you gain muscle in all those areas. What do you think is going to happen when you go back and you spend 3 or 4 weeks learning to hit singles again? What's going to happen? Your strength is going to go up because you made all the muscles bigger that lift those weights. Size and strength cannot be separated. They're correlated. Your strength at any given time on any exercise for you personally is purely a product of the muscle mass involved in that lift and your neural efficiency and motor pattern learning for that movement. That's it. On single joint exercises, it is 100% muscle mass, by the way. So if you lock yourself into a machine and test your bicep curl strength, it is completely tied to your muscle mass. It has nothing to do with anything else. So just in case you weren't aware. All right, next question. For the cleanest bulk possible, should a complete beginner and an intermediate lifter gain 2 pounds a month? 1 pound a month or less? What's the difference of muscle gain per month for beginner, intermediate, or advanced lifter? Well, advanced lifters, you shouldn't even be thinking in terms of pound of muscle. Like advanced lifters don't think in terms of month. Let's reel that back in. A novice lifter can gain 1 or 2 pounds of muscle every single month. An advanced lifter can gain 1 or 2 pounds of muscle every year. In other words, if you're an advanced lifter and you put on a DEXA scan an entire pound of muscle every single year, that's considered a great success. Welcome to being an advanced lifter. It takes you more than a year to do what a novice can do in a single month. And you're going to have to do 10 times the work he will per session to pull it off. So back to the point. I think 2 pounds a month is great for an intermediate. Now, people will say, oh my God, an intermediate lifter, isn't he going to gain some fat? Yeah. You guys, honestly, does anyone out there honestly think you're going to gain muscle quickly without gaining fat? Like, what world do you live in? What delusional world full of fairies and unicorns do any of you live in to where you think without blasting 55-gallon drums of trenbolone that you can make reasonably quick muscle gains without gaining fat? All right, you live in a delusional world. That's not how it works. So in other words, if you want to make reasonable gains in muscle as an intermediate, yeah, 2 pounds a month is good. Is half of that going to be fat? Of course it is. Of course it is. But at least you'll be gaining muscle. If you start trimming it down to the ultra clean, lean only gains, you're going to be up there to where the advanced lifter is. And I'm not saying you can't gain muscle with 0 fat as an intermediate, but you're going to be literally going, hey, can I gain 2 pounds of muscle this year? When you start doing that. And you accept that. And that's okay. Some people don't want to gain any body fat. And they'll live with the fact that it's going to take them an entire year to gain 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of muscle. That's okay. But that's what you're talking about. So if we're going to talk about a clean bulk, you know what? A 50-50 is fine. You know what? If you can gain 1 pound of muscle every month and 1 pound of fat as an intermediate, that is a clean bulk. That's fine. That's great. Because when you gain 5 or 6 pounds of muscle, you can diet 5 pounds of fat off. That's not a big deal. That's easy. So pretty straightforward. Yeah, I think 2 is just fine. There's no way I would recommend an intermediate gain only a pound or less, unless they're basically just trying to recomp. I think that's just too slow. It's a little too slow. All right, next question. I would say sleeping with 4 women is a lot. Getting a girl sleep with you takes time. You have to ask her out, get accepted, take her on a date, get her to like you. No, you don't. Then to get her to actually say, I'll F this guy depending on how the date went. Jason, are you really saying you slept with more than 4 women in your lifetime? Yeah. And this came up because of the Vitruvian physique video, and I'm sorry, no, I think 4 is an insanely low number. When you go look at surveys for people my age, I think 10 is the average for both men and women in my age group when they were surveyed. 10 is the average, 10 partners in their lifetime. So yeah, I've slept with more than 4. And this isn't bragging, guys, because this is what I was trying to explain to people. It actually isn't that hard to sleep with a lot of partners. It isn't. And anyone who's putting all this work in the gym, if that's your strategy to do it, you're overthinking it and you're misallocating resources. You probably need to work on your personality. And I'm going to go over and say that I don't even advocate this type of degeneracy. I can honestly tell you that I've had a period of time in my life where I have slept with 3 or more women in the same week. And you know what? I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. It didn't improve my life in any meaningful way other than a quick nut. All right, that's it. It didn't improve my life. I've had threesomes. I've had more than a dozen threesomes in my life. You know what? It's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling. It didn't make me happy. Now, guys, you say, well, what's the strategy to meeting girls? Do you need to be hot? Do you need to be jacked? No, that's stupid. Anyone who tells you that is full of shit. That is the biggest bullshit artist ever. You know how you get women to sleep with you? You talk to them. Go out and talk to as many women as you possibly can. Learn to be comfortable with women. Be friendly. Talk to them. Be personable. Like, seriously, if a person's goal is to just sleep with at least 10 women who are average looking or better, that's literally the only strategy you need. That's it. That's literally the one single skill that you would need. You just have to talk to women regularly. That's it. That's it. That's be everything any pickup artist would ever tell you. That's all you need to know. But here's what I would say. I don't think that's fulfilling. I've exceeded well over 10, not way beyond that. And honestly, it's not fulfilling. It didn't make me happy. I don't think it's really something to brag about. It's not even that difficult to do. You know what? I think getting to a 500-pound squat is harder than sleeping with 20 women. I think that's a far more difficult goal. So I think that would be something that would be more praiseworthy. But, here's my point with all of it. I think that a person could meet someone who they're a great match with, a great life partner, develop a relationship with them, sleep with just that one person, and have a very fulfilling and happy sex and love life. I think that's totally possible. And in fact, you know what? I would say for a lot of you out there, I think that's a worthwhile goal. I think that's a worthwhile goal. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's a single thing wrong with finding someone who is a great match for you and being with only that person for your whole life. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's messed up. But you know what? I think that's perfectly fine, and I think that's healthy and good. And I don't think a person should look down on that. All right, next question. Coach, do you believe working with sets of triples every day is good enough volume to stimulate a good amount of muscle growth? Currently doing 2 sets of 3 for most of my exercises. Found out that 2 sets of 5 was overkill and leading me to overreaching too often. Trying it with sets of 3 now using weight, I could go over 4 or 5 reps, so definitely get 6 quality reps every day. Thoughts? No, man, if you could do 4 or 5 reps, you're not getting 6 quality reps with 2 triples. You're getting 1 or 2 per set. So you're getting 2 to 4 quality reps every day. Now, I think this is going to be a bit on the low side. Normally, I would say doing high volumes of triples can eventually bury you, and you're usually better periodizing, unless you're going to do it for a short period of time for like, lift mastery, and you end up having to reduce frequency. But I honestly think 2 sets of 3, I think that's a little bit low, man. unless you're doing it every single day. If you do 2 sets of 3 on the squat every day, that might be okay. That'd be fine. But if you're doing if you're doing a lower frequency, that's just not enough weekly volume, not to maximize muscle growth. I'm not saying you can't make gains doing it. You can get bigger and stronger doing it, but you're not going to be anywhere near your maximum growth potential from it. You're really not. And particularly not when you're using your 5 rep max for a couple of triples. No, your total quality reps is going to be a little on the low side, although you might build good speed up. You might build good power. I think it's a little on the low end, brother. I'm not really going to be able to back that. But, you know, if you're happy with it and you're happy with the progress you're making, then by all means carry on. And that's what I would say with something like that, because that could be a very enjoyable way to train. I could see that being fun, right? But it's not ideal. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 3.